So, am I audible? Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. We were discussing about the different thin surface layers. The last discussion, we discussed about the premix carpet, mixed surfacing, mastic asphalt. And now let's go to the micro surfacing. This is relatively a new thin surface being practiced in the country. In this picture, you can see the construction of the mixed surfacing. This is mixed surfacing laying machine. Okay. So this micro surfacing consists of polymer modified emulsion. It is not ordinary emulsion. It is a polymer modified emulsion and the aggregates. The thickness of this microsurfacing varies anywhere between 10 to 20 mm or sometimes even lesser than 10 mm also, depending upon our requirement. The important purpose of using microsurfacing is to fill the ruts, the depression, ruts, and minor surface irregularities, not major, minor surface irregularities. And this microsurfacing is also used to seal the pavement surface, so that water do not get in. The main advantage of this microsurfacing is you can open to the traffic in an hour after construction. So, though it is emulsion, you can open to the traffic within an hour. But this is another view of microsurfacing. See, this microsurfacing machine. The people are just attending during the laying of microsurfacing. This is another view. This is the laid microsurfacing surface on a national highway. You can see it's a thin layer. So, as I said, microsurfacing is a mixture of modified bitumen emulsion. It could be polymer emulsion or rubber latex modified emulsion with mineral aggregates and filler and an additive, any additive. So this mix consisting of emulsion, aggregates, water, filler and additive is proportioned and mixed and uniformly spread over a properly prepared surface. Properly prepared, that means on the receiving surface. This microsurfacing shall have a homogeneous layer, and it adheres firmly to the prepared surface and provide a friction resistance surface texture throughout its service life. The mix is to be a quick setting system. This microsurfacing is to be a quick setting system. That means it should be able to receive traffic after a short period of time, preferably within about 1 hour after it is laid, depending upon the weather conditions. So it is applied on an existing pavement surface which is structurally sound. Please remember, microsurfacing is laid on a structurally sound pavement, which is structurally sound. It cannot be laid on a weak pavement, right? So, but this microsurfacing can be laid on a pavement showing functional distress such as loss of riding quality, cracking and polishing. So that means the pavement is structurally sound, but you are seeing some functional distresses like loss of the riding quality. There are some cracks and there is some polishing of aggregates. In such cases, we can go for this microsurfacing. This microsurfacing is laid in a single layer, but when the existing surface is highly polished or highly cracked, it is advisable to apply in 2 or more layers. This microsurfacing can be used for the surface treatment of roads, taxiways, runways. Normally, two layers of microsurfacing are advisable on cement concrete surface. This microsurfacing imparts protection to the underlying pavement and provides a renewed surface. Special emulsifiers in microsurfacing contribute to the quick setting characteristics, and the special equipment permits the filling of wheel ruts up to a depth of 40 mm in a single pass. So there are some advantages of microsurfacing. It's a quick application. 1 kilometer, one lane can be laid in half an hour, more or less. Minimum traffic holdup because quick opening to the traffic. Lifespan of the payment extends because of this layer, and it is non-polluting to the environment because we are using cold mix, hence there is no heating or hot paving. It microsurface does not require compaction equipment or a paver. The oxidation reduced, hence the life extends because of this surface. It acts as a waterproof surface, gives protection from the infiltration of water because of the rains, and microsurfacing is said to be ideal for sealing the surface and improving the skid resistance. The other advantage is microsurface, because it is very thin, it does not increase the height of the pavement significantly. Especially this is important in case of urban roads. So because the height is not increased, the water clogging, drainage and such associated problems will be lesser. It reduces the noise. These are the different types of microsurfacing. Type 2, type 3. For roads of urban and rural areas, residential streets, as a preventive maintenance treatment where vehicular traffic is less than 1500 commercial vehicles per day. So in such cases, we will go for type 2 microsurfacing with a thickness of 4 to 6 mm. What is the quantity of microsurfacing? Mix 8.4 to 10.8 kg per square meter. And what is the binder content by weight of aggregates? 6.5 to 10.5. You can see the quantity of bitumen. It's very high. And type 3 microsurfacing is used for primary and interstate roads, highways, runways, where as a preventive and renewal treatment where traffic is more than 1500 commercial vehicles per day. The quantity is more here because thickness is more, 11.1 to 16.3 kg per square meter. And what is the binder content? It can be from 5.5 to 10.5 kg by weight of aggregates. This is the gradation for microsurfacing. This is the seal size. These are the type 1, type 2, type 3 seals. You can see the gradation. Type 3, you are using bigger size aggregates. It's a dense graded mix, very dense graded mix. You can see, right? Size of the gradation of the microsurfacing. So that's about microsurfacing. Any clarifications you need? This is new. Here and there we are using this microsurfacing. It's a self profiled machine. See what is that? In this machine itself, this machine will have the emulsion tank, space for storage bins for aggregates, and a pug mill mixing units, and the mix comes here and you have a screed here. screed paves. No compaction is required, no paving is required. It is a machine itself attached with a screed, and the mix is prepared here. We have to load the emulsion, we have to load the required gradation of aggregates. So that's the advantage. Any clarifications? Hello? Any clarifications? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Then we'll go to another
Yes, sir.
thin
Yes, sir.
surface layer. You can see this video, this surface dressing. This is another thin layer. You can see the surface dressing in this video. Surface dressing machine. So you can see the emulsion is spread in the earlier machine. Now the aggregates are spread, and then it is rolled. So basically, the spreading of emulsion and then spreading of aggregates and then compaction comprises surface dressing. So this surface dressing can be single coat surface dressing or a two coat surface dressing. So what do we do here? Surface dressing, application of this binder emulsion sprayed on the prepared base you have seen in the video, and after spreading of this emulsion, the stone chips are spread and then rolled to form a wearing course, surface course. As a surfacing for a light traffic roads or a gravel and other bases, this can be used. This surface dressing can be used on a light volume roads. Some of the advantages of this surface dressing, it protects the bottom granular layer, base layer, maybe WBM or WMM. It acts as a waterproof layer. It arrests the deterioration. It increases the skid resistance. And it's a temporary bituminous layer before any costly treatment. So what are the materials used for surface dressing? The emulsion should have a kinematic viscosity of 1 into 10 to the power of 4 to 7 into 10 to the power of 5 centistokes. This should be the viscosity we need to be maintained. It can be emulsion or even it can be a paving bitumen. It can be emulsion. If it is bitumen, it has to fulfill the requirement of IS 73. If it is emulsion, it has to fulfill the requirement as per IS 8887. The water absorption of aggregates should be less. Generally, used to be maximum allowed was 2. In case of surface dressing, the maximum allowed is 1%, and polished stone value not less than 60 aggregates. So this is the rate of spread of the bituminous binder and the stone chippings. This is the nominal size of the aggregates, and this is the binder, paving grade binder, 1.2 kg per square meter. What is the quantity? It is 0.015 cubic meter per square meter. And then nominal size of 13 mm nominal size aggregates, so much is the quantity of the bitumen, and this is the volume of aggregate to be spread. So depending upon the nominal size, the quantity of bitumen is specified and volume of aggregates are specified. So wherever required, anti-stripping agent shall be used when the aggregate do not meets the stripping test. Even we can use pre-coated chips also instead of sprayed emulsion. I mean, the sprayed binder and then spraying the aggregates. So that means first use the pre-coated instead of spreading uncoated aggregates. We can spread even pre-coated aggregates also when the binder is emulsion. So this is the gradation. We can clearly see the gradation here. Sieve size. This is the nominal size of the aggregates, 19, 13, 10, 6, and these are the gradations. So wherever we are using 19 mm nominal size aggregates, right? This is the gradation to be followed, and you can see here. Passing 19 mm retained on 13.2 mm should have minimum of 65%. This is one criteria need to be fulfilled. Similarly, for other nominal size aggregates, you can see here. Suppose we are using 6 mm nominal chips for surface dressing, then minimum 65% of aggregate should be there between passing 6.3 mm size and retained on 3.35 mm size. And this is the spraying temperature of the binder. When you spray the binder, emulsion or the bitumen, this temperature is to be maintained. This is for the paving grade bitumen. If suppose if you are using 80 by 100 grade bitumen and you are using spray jets, whirling spray jets, the temperature should be between 180 to 200 degrees centigrade. Suppose for the spraying you are using slot jets, then the temperature can be 165 to 175 degrees centigrade. Suppose you are using a bitumen grade of 180 by 200, then this is the temperature to be maintained for whirling spray jets, and this is the temperature to be maintained for slot jets. So you have to maintain the temperatures using the bitumen, viscosity paving grade bitumen, viscosity grade bitumen. So these are the construction operations for surface dressing. Prepare the base layer or the receiving layer. Apply the, here one step is missing. Apply the binder, spray the binder, required quantity, then spread the chips, then roll the chips using pneumatic roller or a static roller. So if required, after rolling, if additional chips are required, you spread it and keep rolling for any irregularities. Application of, suppose this form the single coat surface dressing. What is single coat surface dressing? You spray the emulsion or the binder, then spread the chips, then roll it. If there are any irregularities, make up that irregularities by maybe by adding additional chips or so. Roll it using pneumatic or static roller. So that forms single coat surface dressing. Suppose again you spray the binder over the rolled aggregates, right? And then spread the chips and then roll it. That becomes two coat surface dressing. Okay. So, but the second coat can be carried out after 2 to 3 weeks of construction of the first coat. That means now we have constructed single coat surface dressing and we want to construct two coat surface dressing. Allow the single coat surface dressing to traffic for 2-3 weeks and then go for second coat. So you can open to the traffic. After opening to the traffic, Next day, come and see for any irregularities, surface finish, check the quality control of the surface. Of course, you have to arrange the traffic diversion arrangement during constructions. So that's about the surface dressing. Any other clarifications? Then that's the end of the discussion on some of the important thin surface layers, but still there are some thin layers that we'll discuss now. Any clarifications?
No, sir.
Then we'll go to the highway maintenance, the new topic. But whatever I have discussed, the thin layers, they're all used as part of highway maintenance works, highway maintenance uh, part, right? So here in this discussion, we discuss about the different types of maintenance, highway maintenance, and there are some other layers, thin layers. Thin layers are maintenance activities that we carry out as part of pavement maintenance, like slurry seal, fog spray, truck sealing, and sand seal. If you look at the maintenance of payments is very, very important because most of the time we concentrate on creating assets and we forget the maintenance of maintenance of the assets created, even today. So that means, let's say if we have constructed the payments, putting huge investment, and if this payment for a design life of 15-20 years or even more, 10 to 15 years, bituminous payments, concrete payments 20 to 30 years with lot of investment, and if these payments are not maintained, what happens? We'll be back to square one. So timely maintenance of these payments preserves the assets that we created investing huge amount of money. It's very, very important. This maintenance of the payments results in reduction of the deterioration of the payment. It reduces the deterioration of the rate of deterioration of the payment. It reduces the vehicle operation cost. It reduces the accidents, and it reduces even the pollution. More importantly, the proper maintenance of payments increases the life of the road, life of the pavement. and keep the road in traffic worthy condition so that get good appreciation from the road users. The riders will be happy, get public appreciation. So that's why the maintenance of payments is very, very important, probably more than creating new assets. There are different types of maintenance. Number one, routine maintenance, preventive maintenance, and then periodic maintenance. What is this routine maintenance? Name itself indicates filling of potholes, repairing cracks, patchwork are taken throughout undertaken throughout the year 26, all 365 days. So this is a routine maintenance, filling of, patching of potholes, crack sealing. All these are routine maintenance works. Routine maintenance is also required for payment markings to guide the road users and improve the road safety. So they are all routine maintenance. All 365 days, these routine maintenance activities are carried out. Then comes the preventive maintenance. What is this preventive maintenance? Name itself indicates it is preventive in nature. Something like we go to annual health checkups, though we are, no, though we are not sick, but still we go to annual health checkups just to ensure that nothing is wrong. Or if there is just to suppose, let's say doctor may tell your sugar level is high, that means you may control that. Or if some whatever, it is not reactive maintenance. After getting fever, taking paracetamol, it's not so. Taking precautions, right? Activities, some kind of activities we carry out as preventive maintenance activities, right? So these preventive maintenance activities are carried out to improve or extend the life of the payment when the payment surface still in good condition. That means we carry out these maintenance activities still when the payment surface in good condition, not after you find the distress and then go for maintenance. That is reactive maintenance. Here the payment is in good condition, but still we carry out some maintenance activities to improve or to extend the life of the payment. These preventive maintenance activities differ differs the need for periodic maintenance and rehabilitation. It extends, suppose it differs maybe for 6 months, maybe for 1 year. Let's say you have to do periodic maintenance today, this month. And if you carry out preventive maintenance, you can defer that periodic maintenance maybe by another 5-6 months or maybe 1 year. So that means it differs the need for periodic maintenance and rehabilitation. The typical preventive maintenance treatments are crack sealing or crack filling, fog seal, slurry seal, microsurfacing, thin surfacing, right? So that's what I was telling. Thin surfacing, we discussed about thin surface layers. We discussed about microsurfacing. So they're all part of the preventive maintenance activities. Then comes periodic maintenance. Applying a renewal coat required to be carried out periodically at specified frequency, maybe once in 5 years or 6 years, we construct a layer over the existing bituminous layer. That is periodic maintenance, right? So this depends on this renewal coat. How much the renewal coat depends on the existing surface condition, the traffic volume, the climatic condition, right? Based on that, we carry out periodic maintenance activities. So there is in this slide you can see the payment treatments in a different nomenclature. One is preventive maintenance. As said, that this is a minor treatment, minor in nature. Intention of preventive maintenance is to prevent the further deterioration and extend the life. What are the examples of preventive maintenance? As I said, crack sealing, slurry seal, microsurfacing. There is another maintenance like corrective maintenance or reactive maintenance. What do we do here? We correct, we rectify the existing distresses until more permanent treatments are made. That is corrective maintenance. Thin surface layers, right? Or some kind of corrective maintenance. Then comes rehabilitation. This is not there. Pavement rehabilitation. This is intended to address some of the serious failures and restore the road condition that will ensure the service life. Example for this rehabilitation are something like retain some of the layers, remove and reconstruct the thick layers, something like DBM and BC, stone mastic asphalt, and so on. So those layers, when you construct, it's a rehabilitation after removing some of the distressed layers. There may be a situation you may have to remove the entire pavement and reconstruct because the existing pavement is no longer serving its intended purpose or useful purpose. Such kind of treatment construction is called reconstruction. So in this figure you can see x-axis is your time or age or traffic. Your y-axis is your existing payment condition. This is failed condition. Here it is excellent condition, payment condition. And this is the age, year, or the traffic. Now, initially when we construct the payment, it will be in the excellent condition, right? As age increases, the condition of the payment also deteriorates and condition comes down. It comes down, it deteriorates. So when the payment condition is in excellent condition, we go for preventive maintenance, something like crack sealing, right? Microsurfacing. At this point of, at somewhere here, we go for surface treatments, thin layers. Here, thin layers, some kind of surface treatments we go. Here, we go for thin layers. As the age increases at this level, we go for thick overlays, something like DBM, BC. Here only thin overlays means less than 40 mm. Thick overlays means more than 40 mm. And if maintenance is not done here, then if you do anything here at this, when payment condition at this level, we may have to reconstruct the payment. So anything you do when the payment condition is in excellent, it is preventive maintenance, and in the satisfactory conditions, we go for thin overlays and surface treatments. At when the age increases, right, we have to rehabilitate the payment by constructing thick overlays. And if this is not done, or when we do any construction activities here, improvement activities here, at end of the design life, then we may have to reconstruct the payment. Or when the payment condition is highly distressed, we may have to go for reconstruction. So, any clarification here? Any clarifications? Am I audible? Hello?
No, sir.
If I'm not audible, please let me know. Let me know. I don't mind repeating, telling again and again. Okay. Then comes some of the other layers. we discussed about thin layers there, generally 20 mm, 10 mm layers. And then let us look at some other layers. These are all used mainly for preventive maintenance. Slurry seal. What is this slurry seal? It's a mixture of aggregates, additives, slow setting cationic emulsion, and water. So slurry seal consists of emulsion, aggregates, some additives. And where do we use slurry seal? Is used as a preventive maintenance and for renewal treatment as a substitute. This also can be used as a substitute for surface dressing, chip carpet, or mix seal surfacing for low volume roads. Right? Slurry seal can also be used as a substitute for these thin layers. So mainly this is used as a preventive maintenance. So there are different types of slurry seal: type 1 slurry seal, type 2 slurry seal, type 3 slurry seal. Where do we use type 1 slurry seal? It is for filling airline cracks, smaller cracks, airline cracks. Where do we use type 2 slurry seal? When the cracks are in the range of 1 to 3 mm and commercial vehicle traffic is less than 450 commercial vehicles per day, we go for type 2. When do we go for type 3? When the surface cracks are in the range of 3 to 6 mm. Width, this 1 to 3 mm, 3 to 6 mm is the width of the crack. And when the traffic is more than when traffic is more than 450 and traffic can be up to 1500 commercial vehicles per day. So for higher traffic, we go for type 3. When the crack width is more, traffic is less and crack width is less, we go for type 2. If there are hairline cracks, then we go for type 1. This is the thickness. Type 1 is laid in 2 to 3 mm thickness. Type 2 slurry seal is laid in 4 to 6 mm thickness. Type 3 is laid in 6 to 8 mm thickness. Am I clear there? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The quantity of slurry, the mix, how much should we use? 4.3 to 6 kg per square meter for type 1, 8.4 to 9.8 kg per square meter for type 2, 10.1 to 12 kg per type 3 when we are going for 6 to 8 mm thick. And what is the binder content? Look here, the binder content for the slurry seal. Type 1, 10 to 16% by weight of dry aggregate, 7 to 13.5% for type 2, 6.5 to 12% for type 3. You can see the slurry seal in this video. See this video. Crack sealing. See how they are sealing the cracks. They are removing the lane markings. Slurry seal. See, flowable. can see the lane marking. How they are doing lane marking. So, what are the quantities for slurry seal? Cationic emulsion, slow setting SS2, meeting the requirements of IS 8887. Aggregates shall be crushed, stone dust, clean, sharp, hard, durable, free from soft pieces, organic matter, and other deleterious substances. The aggregate shall meet the requirements specified, physical requirements. It should meet any grading, any type 1, type 2, type 3. And the aggregate shall meet the stripping test as per IS 6241. Suitable amount of anti-stripping agent must be added if required. Filler can be ordinary Portland cement. The quantity of filler to be in the range of 0.5 to 2% by weight of dye aggregate. Water, of course, need to be potable, free from harmful salt or any other contaminants. The pH of water must lie in the range of 6 to 7. When it comes to the additives in the slurry seal mix, can be used, chemical additives may be used to accelerate or retard the setting time of the slurry. The quantity of additives shall be decided based on the mix design and adjusted as per the site requirements and supplier recommendations. The only thing we should check here is whatever the additive we add and the emulsion, they need to be compatible with each other. Otherwise, we may not get the desired results. We should check that. So this is the mix design criteria for slurry seal. Mix time minimum 180 seconds, consistency maximum 3 centimeters, wet cohesion 20 kg centimeter minimum, wet stripping minimum 90, wet track abrasion loss maximum 8 grams per square meter. So all this test has to be carried out as per the IRC mentioned in the appendix of IRC SP 81. So these are indicative values of the ingredients of the slurry seal mix in this table. Cationic vitamin emulsion 10 to 16% for type 1, percentage by weight of aggregates 7.5 to 13.5% by weight of aggregates for type 2, 6.5 to 12 for type 3, water 6 to 12% by weight of aggregates, filler 1 to 2% by weight of dry aggregates, additive 0.5 to 2% by weight of dry aggregates. So these are all indicative values. You have to design the mix so that it meets these requirements. These are indicative values. How do we construct slurry seal? How do we construct slurry seal? Laying of slurry seal shall not be undertaken if either the pavement temperature or air temperature is below 10 degrees centigrade. However, during dry spell, slurry seal may be laid even in rainy season also, even if the surface is wet, but there should not be stagnant water. Surface can be wet, but there should not be stagnant water. We have to prepare the surface on which slurry seal is to be applied, and the surface is to be cleaned of all loose material, mud spots, vegetation, extraneous matter, and the receiving surface, underlying surface shall be prepared and shaped to the required cross profile and longitudinal profile. And it is essential to pre-treat the tracks, pre-treat the cracks on the pavement surface with an appropriate crack sealing material. We saw in the video prior to the application of slurry seal. we seen in that video, they seal the cracks before applying slurry seal as a renewal treatment. Surface should be swept clean by removing the earth and other foreign matter with wire brushes or any mechanical brooms, and finally dusting with the air jet. So after that, after cleaning, apply the tack coat. Tack coat is not normally required for flexible payments unless the surface is extremely hungry and dry. Otherwise, tack coat is not required. Then we use the slurry seal machine as seen in the video. This machine is specially manufactured, and it should be self-profiled equipment, truck mounted, consisting of these components for manufacturing of the mix and spreading of the slurry seal mix on the surface. What are the components of the machine? Consist of aggregate bin for storing the aggregates, filler bin for storing the filler, emulsion tanks, additive tanks, and aggregate and filler conveyors to supply to the mixer box, pump compressed air system to supply the emulsion, mixer box for mixing, spreader box to place the mix on the surface, and these are all required. All the machine should be there, specially made machine, and this machine should be calibrated for the flow of all the constituents as per the mix design. No machine shall be allowed to work on the project until calibration has been completed and accepted. How do we do calibration? 2 kg samples of slurry seal mix will be taken and verified for proportioning and consistency of the mix. The verification for application rate also shall be carried out. So after our calibration, we go for application of the slurry seal mix. The surface shall be pre-wetted by fogging ahead of the spreader box only if it is required in the hot weather conditions. Otherwise, this is optional. Then rate of application shall be adjusted during the day to suit the temperature, texture, and humidity. Rate of application. The mixture shall be mixed uniformly in the spreader box by means of a twin shafted paddles or spiral augers fixed in the spreader box. A front seal shall be provided to ensure no loss of mixture at the road contact point. The rear seal shall act as a final strike off and shall be adjustable. The spreader box real strike off shall be designed and operated that uniform consistency is achieved to produce free flow of the material to the rear strike off. The secondary strike off shall have the same adjustment as the spreader box. The spreader box shall have suitable means provided to side shift the box to compensate for the variation in the geometry of the pavement. Sufficient amount of material shall be carried out on all parts of the spreader box at all times so that complete coverage is obtained. Overloading of the spreader box shall be avoided. No lumping, no balling, and unmixed aggregate shall be permitted. No streaking caused by oversized aggregate shall be left on the finished surface. Longitudinal joints corresponds to the edges of the existing traffic lanes shall be corrected. The other patterns of longitudinal joints may also be permitted if the pattern will not adversely affect the quality of finished surface. Any longitudinal joints of the adjoining lanes can be carried out such that the quality of this slurry seal surface is not damaged. If you find a streak, it shall be corrected immediately by fresh material with the use of squeeze. Longitudinal joints common to true traffic lane shall be butt joints with the overlap of 60 to 100 mm. The mixture shall be uniform, homogeneous after spreading on the existing surface and shall not show separation of emulsion and aggregates after setting. Once spreading, rolling is not required, where rolling is felt necessary due to inadequate cohesion. A pneumatic tide roller having individual wheel load between 0.75 to 1.5 ton shall be used, and rolling shall commence as soon as the slurry is set. Generally, rolling is not required. If you think it is required, it should be carried out with a pneumatic roller after the slurry is set. And once the slurry is set, the surface can be open to traffic. The maximum setting time shall be 4 hours. Speed of the traffic shall be restricted to 20 km per hour at least for 12 hours. So that's about slurry seal. So any clarifications?
No, sir.